Hello, good evening. I'm Jane Tranter. I'm the CEO of Bad Wolf, and on behalf of Bad Wolf and Screen Alliance Wales, it's my enormous pleasure to welcome you all to Wolf Studio Wales tonight. I'm delighted to be able to tell you all this evening. We, together with Screen Alliance Wales and Welsh National Theatre, are launching a new initiative for emerging Welsh and Wales-based writers called Stage and Screen. Many of our most highly regarded and respected television writers today first found their voices in our theatres, and as such, our scheme is designed to support bold, ambitious Welsh voices who want to move with strength between theatre and television, and to encourage stories that can thrive on both stage and on screen. The selected writer will be commissioned to create an original new play for Welsh National Theatre's development slate, while we at Bad Wolf will simultaneously develop the television adaptation. Applications will open on Monday the 1st of June via Screen Alliance Wales website, and will close on Friday the 31st of July. So that's an enormous amount of time for everyone to get going and writing and thinking of ideas and applying. Just write. Can I ask you to kick things off? What are you hoping for from our stage to screen scheme?
Well, I think it's a really exciting opportunity. What we're looking for, I suppose, is, they're very different mediums. I was reminded the other day that theatre grew out of religion and television grew out of radio. And it's like sort of Americans and British in a way, a shared language that makes it seem like the two cultures are very similar, but actually they're very different. And that's part of the challenge of it, I think, to be able to write something that will be able to work in two different mediums is going to require two very different disciplines and different types of muscularity and dexterity. But that's what's so exciting about it, that it's an opportunity for someone to be able to really explore both of those mediums and lean into those mediums. So it's not about one size fits all, I don't think. Yeah. And also thinking about, really big, successful, popular TV shows that grew out of theatre plays. The ones that I've seen in both mediums, they worked brilliantly in the medium that it began in, was then changed and developed to work in the other medium. And you have to have an understanding of what those mediums require.
So what do you think? I mean, I think the best known examples, things like Fleabag or Baby Reindeer or Chewing Gum. What do you think it was about those shows, perhaps, that made them into such successful pieces of television?
Well, it's funny because I didn't see Fleabag in the theatre, but I saw one of Phoebe's other plays, early plays, and there was a freshness about it. There was a real voice and a kind of directness about it as well. You just felt like you were hearing a unique kind of take on things that was very resonant, that you connected with immediately. It felt meaningful, it felt recognizable, but it was sort of surprising and fresh and innovative. And I think that's true of all those shows that you mentioned. But what worked well in the theatre, obviously there was similarities to the TV version, but it was a very different beast. But there was a writer who understood, what worked for audiences and in the different mediums. But I think that's what, ideally, I think we'd both hope that we're looking for a voice, really, and a voice that has something to say and an interesting way to say it, and is able to kind of explore how to do that in two different mediums. And if we can find that, we're onto a winner.
Well, that would be good. I think it's interesting that in those examples, one of the things that television kind of, really feeds off is very strong, distinctive character. And I just wonder if there is something in, that we perhaps should be looking out for in a character who can hold many episodes of something, as well as hold an audience captive for 90 minutes or whatever in the theatre.
I was thinking about Dav James's Lost Boys and Fairies, and not long before that came out, I read On the Other Hand, We're Happy, which is Dav's play that Lost Boys and Fairies sort of was developed out of. And when I read On the Other Hand, We're Happy, I loved it. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. And I was so excited about reading it, you know. But when you look at Dav's play and then look at the TV series that came out of it, there is an opening up and there's an expansiveness to it, as well as a kind of drilling down into it as well.
You got more time.
Yeah, and so you've got to have compelling characters who can kind of, you know, like the White Rabbit in Alice in Wonderland, sort of lead you down into the kind of labyrinthine complexity of their world and their personality. That's what will sustain it, isn't it? You know, I had the opportunity to work on a multi-series TV project in America called Masters of Sex for Showtime. And one of the most exciting things about working on that for me was being part of developing what the ideas were over multiple episodes and multiple seasons and how characters can develop. Because when you're not tied to a film, you know, 90-minute or whatever, 100-minute structure, or indeed a theatre structure, when you're looking at being able to explore character development over a much longer period of time, it opens up so many different possibilities. And there's something incredibly exciting about the discipline of doing that over 90 minutes or over, you know, 2.5 hours or whatever it might be. But to be able to then go, I mean, I was really interested by the TV version of Amadeus recently, which does a similar thing, takes that play and that film, I suppose, and starts to open it up a bit more and explore other areas. And there's so many exciting possibilities with that. But you're right, there obviously has to be, you know, a central character or central characters that allow for that, that can work really well in that one sort of structure format, and then also open up all kinds of possibilities when you start to look at a TV series.
I was going to ask you if there were any Welsh television pieces or even films that you have seen recently that you thought, actually, do you know what? That could have originated in the theatre. It hasn't, but it could have done. But I guess Daft's Lost Boys and Fairies is a good example.
Yeah, I mean, I would have loved to have seen Mammoth done in the theatre first, which would be really fantastic.
Yes.
I mean, you can, you know, maybe In My Skin.
I was going to say In My Skin.
Yeah, I mean, it would be really interesting to see how that could have worked.
Yeah.
And, I mean, there's also things like, I mean, it's not recent, but there's another play, another revival that we looked at, The Keep by Gwyn Thomas, which you sort of read it and you go, well, it feels quite dated now as a play, and I'm not sure whether you could do it as a play now. But that voice is so particular. If only he was, you know, here to be able to, you know, do something like this. You know, that's what you want. The humor of it and the dialogue and the character development and stuff. It's fantastic in something like that as well.
In an ideal world, then, in 5 years' time, what would you like to see from the Welsh National Theatre and the wider industry in Wales? If you've done all of this in 1 year, what can we expect in 5 years, do you think?
You know, the very first thing that we did was commission plays, commission writers to write new plays for us. And all of that work is still in development, and that's really exciting. So I would hope that in the next 5 years, there are more and more new plays being performed, plays that the writers actually want to write, other than the plays they feel they have to write in order to get them done, actually writing from the heart, from the head, from the gut, and, you know, telling stories about us, about our culture and our story. It would be great to see that happening. Also, you know, as we talked about the revivals, being able to have a sense of the canon of what is our tradition, what is our legacy that we find our place in and that we are lifted up by and that we are inspired by and that we can learn from. You know, to feel that we're part of that flow, of that creative river that I feel is, you know, has been denied us for all kinds of reasons, but to be able to be part of building that up so that when people come and see the plays that we're doing or the plays that any theatre company are doing in Wales, there's a kind of an understanding of where that's come from and what tradition that's a part of. That would be amazing to see that happening, and to see the Welsh projects like the Welsh Net, projects like this, bringing people through. You know, I think one of the other issues that we discovered was that a lot of Welsh directors were not getting the opportunity to perform on main stages. And so, in fact, our town grew out of exactly that. It was never meant to be the first major production of the Welsh National Theatre. It came out of me wanting Frank Goodrich to direct on a main stage. So I said, right, I'll be in it, you direct it, we'll find a play. We didn't even know what play it was going to be at that point. But it was, so I think if we can provide a platform to bring Welsh directors through, Welsh writers to write the plays they want to write, and find new young talent out there, whether it's actors, writers, directors, designers, dramaturgs, just to kind of build that infrastructure. Yeah. And if we can do that working together with partners like yourself or the BBC or whoever it might be, and start to connect up a lot of the elements in Wales. One of the really hard things, I think, for creatives in Wales and companies is that, everyone's sort of fighting for the same pots of money. And it doesn't lend itself to working together and collaboration. Inevitably, it makes people wary and nervous of what everyone else is doing. We're trying to find a model with this company that allows us to kind of try and get around that and try and find ways to create more collaboration and more connectivity. Wales, whether it's in theatre, politically, socioeconomically, whatever it might be, is always at the mercy of becoming disconnected and fractured. I think the more that we can push as a sector to have more support from government and from, wherever it might come from, and we as a sector come together more and feel like we're, working alongside each other rather than, against each other in some way. I think that if we can do that in 5 years,
let's do it.
That'd be great.
Let's do it. I love that. So these questions have been submitted by the writers who have already put their names down to apply for the scheme. When you look at the next generation of Welsh creatives coming through now, what excites you most and what still frustrates you about the industry?
And as we said about having a voice and kind of being innovative about what they're doing and really leaning into their medium, there's a lot of that out there, which is incredibly exciting as well. I think what we're not doing is giving writers the opportunity to, as I say, write the plays they want to write, and creating the circumstances for that, I think could, be really helpful.
We did our Blythe Writers Scheme last year and were inundated, and it was really difficult to just choose the 4 writers that we took through. And I know we'll just have the most amazing selection to choose from this project. Now that you have an established career, when you look back at yourself during your early and mid-career years, what was the biggest lesson you learnt during those times? And knowing what you know now, what would you have done differently?
I think when I first left drama school and started working, I gave not a jot of care about where I was going to perform or what play it was or anything like that. It was like just what spoke to me, what made me excited. But the being able to have a really kind of just a real visceral connection to the work, regardless of where it took you. But I felt like when I was really just responding to things on a kind of visceral level, it just got me excited. I do think there's something magic about creativity. I think there's literally something magic about it. We don't understand how it works. There is something that if you can get in that place, not wait for someone else to tell you, work on the best stuff and get into that imaginative, creative place inside yourself, and things will happen. That makes things happen. So I would say that's always the advice I give for anyone, really. That's the tip I would give, whether you're a writer, an actor, a designer, director, whatever you are. It's who we are. We are naturally creative beings. We have to be. We're creating all this as we go along. Every day we're creating our life. And the more we can kind of harness that and kind of be in sync with that, the more human we become.
Michael, thank you so much. As ever, you are really inspiring. Thank you very much. Thank you, Welsh National Theatre.